Okay, this video is on how to back up your documents to your T drive for, well, safety and for hard drive migrations that we're in the middle of doing. Just so all the teachers know, we back up the T drives every weekend and we keep the last 4 weeks of backups at any given time, and I keep a backup over the summer. So keeping things on your T drive is a good idea for safety, but just realize that there's a limited amount of space. It's not for personal information, your music collection, your home video collection. It's only for those school related items that are on your computer. I will tell you that for the migration purposes, if you have music on your computer that you want to move over to the T drive, I just ask that you move it back off because I do delete music off the T drive from time to time when it gets full. Um, it's not where I'd like you to keep that information. You can obviously, there's room on your hard drives to keep a nice music collection on there. Just don't leave it to be backed up every week and included in the backups, because basically then I've got 5 copies of your music on the network drive, and if we did that for every teacher, we'd not have a network drive left. So those things that are personal, that are on your hard drive, you're certainly welcome to move them to the T drive and then move them back off the T drive when we migrate to your new drive. You really need to make sure you've got copies of that stuff at home, and that your only copy is not sitting on the computer, because if your hard drive goes bad, you'd be really unhappy with that anyway. So enough being said on that. Let's talk about how to back up your stuff. Now, the T drive, you want to have a copy of your important documents there. So if anything ever went bad with your drive, or I came in and imaged it over the summer, you would have that stuff there. So the first thing you want to do is to open up your T drive. So you go to Start in My Computer, and then you click on your T drive, which you should, I've got a bunch, but it should say your name on Trail 2 and then whatever school you're in, and you click on that and you should see your T drive. And mine is organized into personal information, my teaching stuff, my tech stuff, and things that I share on the web, through a folder that I've got there. So I've already got some folders set up, and inside teaching there's a folder for evaluations and subs and stuff in there. So you might want to make sure as you're moving stuff over that you organize it to make it easier for yourself to find later, and you may already be a very organized person with that. The only thing I ask is that as you move stuff to the T drive, you don't keep multiple copies of the same thing. A couple teachers have made a folder for like February and then April, and they just keep copying their whole My Documents folder over. I'm keeping incremental copies of your backups. You don't need to do the same thing. Plus, if something happened, you're going to lose that whole folder anyway. So I would restore the whole folder, so it's not like having incremental copies really does anything for you. It just makes us have copies of copies of copies. So I've got my T drive open. The next thing I'm going to do, and there are 2 places that most teachers have stuff that they want to back up. For instance, you may have stuff on your desktop, and so I'm going to go ahead and make a new folder. I just right click on the screen where there's nothing there and go to new folder, and I'm going to make one called desktop for the things that I save on my desktop that I want to back up over to here as well. Okay, so I've got a folder called desktop, and I'm going to double click on that to open it up, and then I'm going to put the things that I want to back up from my desktop into that folder, and that way when I migrate I can just drag them straight out. So I've got a video that I use at the start of every class that's right here. I'm just going to drag that into desktop, and if I add any other important stuff down here, I've got some tech vids that I've got stored on my desktop, not necessarily the best place for it, but I'm going to go and drag that over there too. So now it's going to copy those videos, and obviously there's a lot, I'm not going to make us sit through that, to that area as well. So then I'm going to go back to my main area here. So you can see I've got a desktop folder, and then I'm going to do the My Document items. So to get those, I'm going to go to Start in My Documents, and I'm just going to put these right next to each other. That's the easiest way to do it. Now I've got tons of things in My Documents. Very few of those do I really need to back up. A lot of these are folders that it made downloads. I don't need to back up downloads that I've made, and there's probably a bunch in there. Actually, there's none in there. Oh, there we go. There's a bunch in there, but these aren't things that I can't download again probably, and a lot of times there's stuff that came off the internet anyway. So I just want to be selective about those items that I want to back up that are in here. For instance, I've got a power chart that belongs in my teaching one. So I'm going to go ahead and pull my power chart over there because that one should be backed up in there. And I've got a tech note there on how to create a universal ghost drive. I'm going to throw that in my tech work folder because I really want to have that in there. And then I've got some notebook files here that I want to put in my teaching folder over here as well that I want to make sure that I don't lose. So I'm going to put these in my notebook lessons folder that I've got over there. And you can see it backs up relatively quickly. Oh, I've got this E-Day guide that I want to have over here in my tech one on elementary school E-Days. Moodle rubric I really want over there. So I'm going to drag over those items that I want. You could take the whole folder, but you can see how much stuff I've got in that folder. I probably don't need all these other folders in there. For instance, my music folder, I don't need to back up my personal music. I've already got that on a CD that I copied onto here. So I know a lot of people do everything from the T drive, and a lot of people do a lot of stuff from my documents. It really is beneficial to kind of do both. If the network's down, I know the stuff I use from day-to-day basis are on my PC, so that if the network's down, I don't lose my lesson plan. I can still open up in the Smart Notebook, and I'm good to go with that. However, if I lost this hard drive and I didn't have it backed up to my T drive, that would be equally as bad. So you want to have those things both, just not junk over on your T drive, and you also don't want to have personal stuff over there. And look, I've got some PowerPoints that I have not moved over there as well. So I'm going to move those over there as well. So you want to drag those things just straight from my documents over to your T drive, and in my case I've got some folders set up for my tech stuff and my teaching stuff and a couple of personal items maybe that I've got in there. I don't even know what's in that folder. And then I made that desktop one, then I'm going to drag those items from my desktop over. The other thing that you want to make sure you get on there, and you can see the 3 files right here that were made as I made a backup of them. I've got a backup of my bookmarks as well, so that after I migrate to a new drive, I can re-import all my bookmarks and not lose all those things as well from my PC when I move over. So those are probably the most important things that you get moved to your T drive is your desktop items, your My Documents, and your bookmarks over there to your T drive, so that when you get a new hard drive, you can just restore those. The last thing that some teachers forget is their notebook content. If you are a teacher that uses Smart Notebook a lot and you don't have a backup of that content, you also have to move that over. That is not something that's stored in my documents. In fact, it's stored really hard to find. So, and what I'm talking about, if you were someone who organizes their own content here, and you can see I've got a bunch of content divided into chapters here, you need to make sure you export that as well, because that will not move to your new hard drive. So to export that, you just go and right click right on your content, and you say export as a collection file, and you want to move that to your T drive. So where I'm going to save it to, I'm saving it to my T drive, and in this case I'm going to put it in Teach, and I'm going to name it My Notebook Content, and I'm going to hit save. And depending on how big your gallery is, this can take a while to export your content. And in fact, I'm going to pause the video here. It can take 5, 10, 15 minutes. So it may be something you don't want to do in the middle of class. You want to do it at the end of the day so that it can export all that stuff that you've collected into your Smart Notebook file or your Mimeo notebook, depending on which one you use. But that is a That and bookmarks are the two biggest gotchas that teachers forget to do when they migrate to a new hard drive. And after the migration is complete, if I've already reused your drive, it will be impossible to recover. So you don't want that to happen to you. So that's how to, in fact, I'm going to let it keep going because I have not done that forever. That's how you migrate your stuff and back it up to your T drive. And then obviously you would just drag it back from your T drive to your new desktop or your new My Documents when you're done.